sorry. I'm sorry. I'm not good at being like the lead introduction. This is
Okay, let's
practice,
start
okay?
it. Let's start it
This
over
is
again. Let's start
this
it
is
over again.
practice. Okay,
We're gonna
okay.
start it over again. Okay, we're gonna go
From
from
the
do
spoiler
spoiler
warning.
alert. Let's pick it up.
Okay,
Pick it up.
okay.
All right.
Okay, guys. We're gonna okay, okay. Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the Marvels,
Spoiler.
spoiler. If you haven't seen the Marvels, go see it. It's, you should see it. You should just see it.
We're going to be
Um,
talking about this film, and we're not holding back, and we're giving away all the details.
like we're yeah.
Yeah.
Um, okay. And then before we even start talking, like this video, subscribe it, share it, all of that stuff, and get our merchandise so you can get like it's like the logo behind my dad's, screen. It's just cool. Like it's just cool. I don't even know why I'm not wearing the shirt that I have of it right now. Like just a
We'll get
dumb
some
decision.
more.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll get
Okay.
more. Yeah, most
Yeah.
definitely. So, hey, so we went and watched The Marvels. And you know what? I'm not going to say I feel bad, but I think there was a lot of things there were a lot of things going against that movie, and we almost fell for the okie doke. And it's not just
Yeah.
because of the Marvels. It was like we were kind of marveled out. There was Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, that was okay in my
No, that
opinion.
was bad. That was
All
just
right.
bad.
Yeah, but I was so excited to see the new baddie come in, like Kang the Conqueror. Like that's the next villain. Word on the street they're trying to change the main villain, and so that's anyway. We're not talking about Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania. We're talking about the Marvels, but we
it,
were marveled out, right?
yeah.
But then as time went on, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, the Marvels is out. We didn't even like see any real promo. We didn't get any interviews from
Yeah.
the actors or anything like that because of the actors strike, right?
Yeah. I mean, there are, interviews and promos out there, but it's kind of just like the last couple of Marvel movies, like personally, I haven't really I haven't really chosen to go see it. I didn't really, care about,
Right.
all the movies. Like really, they kind of lost me after Thor: Love and Thunder. Like it was just
That's
no.
fair. That's
Um,
fair. But you know what
well,
though? But this particular movie like received just a crap ton of hate. Like
oh my God, dude.
a lot of hate because dear God, women superheroes, if they're not wearing thongs or wearing bathing suit type,
Well,
super suits showing their butts, like they're no good. Trust me, it was a thing.
to be honest, from what I've seen, I don't even think it's that. I think it's people like are kind of having like our opinions about it, like recognizing you have to have like a good character and good character development to make people want to watch this character and all of that. And so, I don't really think a lot of character development is, there in this movie. And where am I going with this? I think that people are just being too like negative about it.
People were being very negative about the film. And, before we get into the what we liked and what we didn't like about it, just the simple fact that most of the most of the things that I've read online as it pertains to the Marvels, was pretty much like, oh, it's serving the woke crowd. Like you have to be woke in order to see the Marvels, or it's too woke and that's why it didn't do well. And I think they're weaponizing that word to such a degree that it a cliche word, it triggers a lot of people to want to do the exact opposite. Now, as like when I introduced you to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, we went like you backtracked and saw all the movies, at home.
Yeah,
And then I
yeah,
think your first Marvel movie was Spider-Man that we actually went to see in the movie theater,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Because Spider-Man was after like Civil War. Like I remember knowing that like you went to go
Yeah.
see it. Um,
Yeah. And then as all the movies were coming out, we were just as excited to see Captain Marvel and what she was going to bring, and then seeing her again in Endgame, with the
yeah.
climax of fighting and then taking on Thanos. So, not to say, oh, we like women. It's like, no, 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 no. It's like, look, the the
No,
internet like I said before, the internet is beautiful and the internet can just be ugly. And in this particular case, it was just ugly. And you cannot like a film. That's totally cool. That's your prerogative. But you got to come at it. You got to come with your critique with a little bit more than, oh, it's just woke and it's got, a bunch of women in it and
yeah.
blah blah blah. That's just crazy.
Like I noticed a lot of people's like points. Like it's getting there. Like some of it I agree with, but they're just like excuse me, like focusing on what am I trying to say? They're like so close to like nailing a legitimate point, but they're being like so negative and choosing like kind of like nonsensical things like that don't fully matter. Um, and I think you can kind of draw a parallel to like Ahsoka a little bit because
Mm-hmm.
we didn't even recognize that fully at the time, but that was another kind of like triple female lead. Um,
Right, right. And you know
yeah,
what? I think that because because everyone has started to realize that the superhero genre at a time was a bunch of white males wearing spandex. Look, I'll be the first one to tell you the main reason that I became a creator was because of my love for the movie Superman. Okay. And then all the movies that have come out after that. It really wasn't until the next big hit really wasn't until Blade.
mm,
And it had one big thing going against it, and that it was rated R. And it made a gajillion dollars in 99 or 2000. I want to say it came out in 99. It did very well, or 98, something like that. The Matrix
was it
Matrix came out in 99. Anyway, what were you saying?
was it one of those like blood splatter everywhere movies, and that
Oh,
was why
yeah.
it.
Well, it's a vampire hunter. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
um,
Blade, blood, blade, tomato, tomato.
yeah, I so then another point is in a way it was like a little destined not destined to fail, but like it had a lot stacked against it.
It did. It did have a lot stacked
Yeah,
against it, right?
Marvel is already doing like pretty bad. Like they had a little, like the graphs are like this and like very low. Oh, you got a little bump with like Loki season two.
Right.
But
Right.
that can only take you so far. So people are already starting to lose their interest with Marvel movies.
Exactly. And then you
Not
had the
going to see
actors
them.
strike,
Yep, the actors strike.
right?
Then, this movie comes along. I know, like, because I remember going to see Captain Marvel when it came out, but I don't really remember, like, really what was happening in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I know, like, people didn't really like it, or some people didn't really like it.
I
And
mean, whatever.
yeah,
Yeah.
um, but it had that going against it. Then, with the already failing Marvel movies that had a big budget of like, I'm pretty sure it was 300 million. I read,
Mm-hmm.
and
For what? The Marvels was 300 million.
yeah,
Okay.
and it made, we saw it. Like, we didn't go see it in the opening weekend, which now that I think we should have, because
Yeah.
you know our extra like $20 or something. Maybe it could have bumped it up to 48 million. Um,
Well, I think
yeah,
the big reason was because of the actors strike, and because the actors were on strike, thank goodness, like, and they've reached a settlement. I know there's something with the settlement that people are still trying to like work out the kinks, but the president is saying that it's a good deal. So, shout out to all the SAG actors, union and non-union. That would be me, non-union, but they, it's for me as well. And yeah, so, and that's the big thing. And when the actors were on strike, you can't do promotions. So there are no interviews, there's no walking the red carpet. As a matter of fact, I want to say that as soon as the strike started, the actors from Mission Impossible just bounced. And there are a couple of other movies where they were doing like, their grand openings. As soon as it was like, we're on strike, they left. Like, you're on strike.
what what do you mean by that? They left from where? The actors from
So
the Mission Impossible movie.
So when there's a big opening and you've got these crowds of people that are wanting to see the actors, before they see the premiere of the movie, they walk the red carpet, right?
Yes.
They take their photos, they sign autographs. And
Yeah.
so as soon as that strike was called, they left the pomp and circumstance. So they left, the crowds of people, and stood by their
So,
brothers and
okay.
sisters
Yeah.
during the strike. So let me finish this because
Yeah.
let's
Yeah.
let's keep it moving. But the big thing was that the budget, the rewrites that they were happening, and I want to say that the Marvels is probably like one of the shortest run times at
It
an hour
is.
and
Yeah.
45 minutes, and most of these movies are like 2.5 hours, and
And
I think, yeah,
it's
go ahead.
balancing three characters too. Like,
Exactly,
yeah, continue.
exactly, exactly. No, and dare I say, okay, so we need to do the complimentary sandwich, right? So I don't want to because because I think our points are valid, right? And I think that the critiques that we do have for it, I think should I don't know, lead to a
Constructive
better
criticism
discussion. Exactly.
yeah, yeah,
A better discussion rather than, it's just some girls, right?
yeah,
So
yeah. I
let's go through what did you like about.
um I okay. So one, I liked, like, just out of nowhere, like the whole like alien kittens and them having to like eat everyone's scene. That was a little like weird and random and like pretty funny.
Right.
Um
Typical Marvel fare to mix the funny with the serious and the action.
yeah, and um I liked I liked that one. Not the I didn't like the singing planet because of the singing people. I
Oh yeah,
liked
no.
the whole like, like tropical vibe there, because one thing I've been like researching is a genre called solar punk, and I think that was like kind of like a little solar punk kind of thing.
Okay.
What else did I
Oh, we're
like?
still on the positive. Complimentary
I
sandwich.
no, no, I know, I
Yeah,
know, I know,
okay.
and I can keep getting stuff. I liked how it wasn't screaming girl power in your face, and it was more showing it than
Okay.
anything.
Good.
Um,
Okay, I
yeah,
get that.
yeah,
we,
yeah,
we want to see it rather than like say it, and that's actually the first rule of filmmaking. Don't tell me, show me.
yeah, yeah. And I
Yeah.
wasn't like in the moment while you're in the theaters watching it, I was just kind of like seeing the characters and I wasn't like, really focused on their gender or anything. And I liked uh I think Kamala Khan or Miss Marvel was like in like some moments was kind of funny. Uh yeah, that's kind of the stuff I can name off the top of my head.
Okay, cool.
It's kind of
Well,
yeah.
no, go ahead.
No, this is for like a later in the video
Okay, cool.
in the
Well, I'll
podcast.
tell you what I really dug about it. Like what I really appreciate about the film was just seeing how the three the three Marvels,
Yeah, yeah.
were getting together. And, once you know the history, like the comic book history of these three characters, they both all three of them took the name Captain Marvel, and then Captain Rambo was going back and forth, with the name, right? And so, like, between going through a whole bunch of different, code names, or what have you. And I actually like the fact that they say code names in the movie and in these movies instead of, oh, what's your superhero name? No, what's your code name? Or your
Yeah.
call sign, like a Goose and Maverick, like in Top Gun. But anyway, so
Mhm.
I really like the way that they took the film and was like, look, these three women, they're all named, Captain Marvel or Miss Marvel, what have you. So let's make this the second movie and show how they work together. Okay, so there's that. And honestly, like the character Kamala Khan really, really tickles me. Like I think she's the every woman, every person, with superpowers that looks up to these heroes and puts them puts them on a pedestal because she aspires to do great things. Okay. And
Mhm.
that's what I really appreciate about her. Even when we were watching like her show, and we were seeing how like
Should have been
it
a
was
movie.
really different. Okay, it was really different. And as a parent, and I'm watching this show, I'm like, okay, this may not necessarily be for the two of us per se, but it's definitely for a young teenage girl who's just as nerdy as we are, that's watching this show and
Hmm.
getting all the things that she needs, that they need to get, just like watching Black Panther. Okay. And that's really the beauty behind Marvel Comics, and then now with the Marvel Cinematic Universe is really bringing in that diversity, because they were doing that first, like really, and then it was DC
Yeah.
that was trying to
Like,
catch up.
yeah, maybe throwing a Black
Right.
Green Lantern.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, they were trying to catch up, and then Marvel was taking a lot of flack, especially with Black Panther. But there's that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's one thing I really dug about the film. The other thing I dug was the fact that when they all got their super suits, you saw Captain Rambo get those cloth things that's on her arm, like
It was only for
that's
like
of
I've seen it. She's like taking it off.
yeah, that's of course is a throwback to one of her
Yeah.
comic book costumes, and I was like, that's cool,
I
right?
thought it was supposed to be Storm, like a reference to Storm.
No, well, she Storm definitely had those things. Like the
Yeah.
functionality is so that she could fly, right? So for Storm, she doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily fly. She can control the elements, so like the weather, so she could create wind, and that's what those flowy things were for,
Okay.
right? So for Captain Rambo, aka Captain Marvel, aka Photon, get to that critique later.
Hmm.
That's what that was part of an original costume back in the comics. And just that, and the fact that I yeah, I really enjoyed seeing them all together and working out their issues to become the super team that they're supposed to be.
Okay, are you ready for the next part? I'm joking. I'm joking. I
After you.
honestly like wish there was more things. Maybe it's on me and I just need to think more. Maybe it's also on the movie
Well, no,
because
I
they're
have a
like,
lot. I have a lot more positive things to
yeah,
say about it.
okay, let's share one more thing.
Okay, sure.
I'm not trying to
Let
like test you. Just go. Yeah, share one more thing. I'm not trying to test you. I'm just curious what the next because maybe it's something I didn't think of.
well, okay. Let me think about it. All right. You're gonna have to get back to me.
Okay.
No, there is, and I actually should have
Yeah,
written it
yeah,
down.
yeah. Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Okay. What's it called? Constructive criticism now.
Yes.
Well, okay. This other thing I have to say is like a big point that I've been thinking of, which is people are talking about a lot of why they didn't like it, their reasons. Three females as the lead. It's not the best movie. You can't blame it on the actors. You can't blame it on the director. But at what point are we having a bias? Because in the past we've been like, you can't blame it on the actors, you blame it on the director. And then
Mm.
we're like, you can't blame it on the director here. And that's, you know, this time it happens to be the black woman. And so I'm not saying it from a point of judgment. I'm saying it from more of a point of like curiosity. Like, is this a legitimate like bias that we're starting to have, you know, in this
A
way?
bias in regards to, say that again.
A bias in regards to like not blaming if like the director happens to come from like, well, not happens, but comes from like a minority per se. And well, okay, scratch that. I'm just gonna like reiterate what I said.
Sure.
In the past, let's say for like something like The Last Jedi or like, one of the bad Star Wars movies, like Rise of Skywalker, we would or no, Last Jedi because it has like Rose in it and people didn't like Rose. And so we're not, the actors just doing their job, like truly. And
Right.
so we might not blame it on the actor, we would blame it on the director.
Yes.
Um,
No, you're talking about the
and
conversation we had. The like normally, look,
so
the
so
buck
yeah,
stops with the director, right?
yeah, and so at this point, we're not blaming it on the director because the director's a black woman. So I'm saying, at what point, so we're not. It's not the director. It's the writers. What if?
Well, I think
So that's what I'm
I understand
saying.
where you're coming from. Like,
And then I have a
where's
point
that
to counter.
line,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Like,
Like
where do
not
you?
yeah, not even like where's like a little bit of where's the line, but also just like, is it us having like a like a bias,
Are we trying to give her
basically.
a pass? The answer
Yeah,
to that is
yeah,
no. The answer to that is no, and I'll tell you why. Number one, you look at the director's other works, Miss Nia DaCosta. This is, I believe, her third Hollywood film, which is a Marvel movie.
mm-hmm.
So Marvel has made it a point to get up and coming directors, right? They did it
Yeah,
with Captain Marvel. They did the duo that directed Half Nelson a while ago. That's one of my favorite films back in the day.
mm-hmm.
But Nia DaCosta directed a movie called Little Woods with Valkyrie herself, Tessa Thompson, and then she also directed the remake of Candyman. Okay, that was like a few years ago. So her skills as a director is awesome. So in this particular point, I don't, not that I don't think, I know it's not the skills of a director.
Yeah.
A buddy of mine, because I was actually texting him about us seeing the Marvels and what we thought about it. And his comment, shout out to Steve, what's up? We were discussing the juggernaut that is Disney slash Marvel. You get these big corporations that has to keep churning out product. So the issue, in my opinion, is the fact that you're having to churn out products and you're not dealing with the story. That's the reason why one of my critiques is the runtime, it being an hour and 45 minutes, because you're trying to churn out this product instead of fleshing out the beef between Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers. Last time they saw each other, she was a little kid. Yeah, they made mention of it during the film, but you really didn't see the effects of this little girl missing her auntie. She's off on the other side of the Milky Way galaxy, taking care of business and dealing with her own, troubles or what have you.
Yeah.
So if you're not really able to tell that part of the story, then I think you're doing that movie as a whole as a disservice. And that's part of my thing, with seeing the Marvels, was that, I wanted to see what Marvel is known for, and that's character development. That's like raising the stakes, on the little things, so that when the big stuff happens, they come together like Voltron and handle their business. And then also with Kamala Khan, like now we're seeing her go interstellar. Like she's like we were talking about when we were watching Miss Marvel. She's New Jersey Spider-Man,
Yeah,
right?
and
She's the friendly neighborhood, Spider-Man, right?
that's my one critique from like, the most Marvel show. Like I personally was thinking and would have liked to see it being more of like a
Street level.
yeah, yes, and not like cosmic, traveling around the world and like at what point there were like those the like two
Well, they would have
protagonists
had
at
to
the
have
same.
had like
Yeah.
certain elements, like because her powers have changed from the show as it was in the comics. So they would have had to have done some of those cosmic things, but I as you get older, like I guess I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I think there is definitely a way to marry the two, get the cosmic stuff out of the way, but still keep it street level because of her powers and how they originate. But anyway, so that's really my big thing, was the short runtime and that we didn't get enough character development between Monica Rambeau and Carol Danvers in order for them to work out their differences and then take care of the big baddie. And that was really because it was an hour and 45 minutes. And if they would have at least given it 2 hours, another 15 minutes, maybe I wouldn't have that critique.
Hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
and also to kind of like, because the more research I did, the more I kind of like debunked that like statement slash question that I was saying
Mm-hmm.
earlier, which
Mm-hmm.
was I so Marvel has, after Endgame and some other stuff, I would say Marvel has a style. It is green screen, a lot of CGI, action, and comedy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with like a new upcoming like director and stuff like that, like And the reason to have a director is, they direct the actors and have like a style maybe. And I don't think you're able to see like a style at all with, well, not at all, but you weren't really able to see a style in the Marvels movie. Um, or I should say you couldn't see Nia DaCosta's style, which I did see like her talking about like a clip from Candyman, and I could
Mm-hmm.
definitely see more of like a style in that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but what I'm saying is it's kind of going back to the point of uh Marvel, not Marvel, the movie having it stacked against itself with like it's just a formula at this point. Like maybe it's a little different story because there are
Mm-hmm.
three main characters, but
Well, that and also, no, go ahead.
it's just yeah, it's all starting to be the same.
Right. But you know what, though? I think also a bigger issue in the cinematic universe and not with the Marvels is that these movies aren't really going anywhere. Like 10 years worth of Marvel films, in the past took us to Thanos. That's what all those movies were pretty much getting us
Yeah,
towards. Everyone was like, "Oh my God, it's Thanos!" And then you get another movie that would start, like with Guardians of the Galaxy with the Infinity Stones, and then like
yeah,
Thor with and how all those movies were gearing up for Thanos. These movies was supposed to take us to Kang the Conqueror. Now, I definitely have an opinion with what the actor Jonathan Majors is going through right now. Like, I definitely have an opinion as to like why that's happening, like why all of a sudden all of these movies have no anchor, and I think they should. And I personally want to see Kang the Conqueror, and keep the personal business out of the movies, out of making the movies, especially when we're getting more and more evidence that, that he should be clear of all of that mess that, he got caught up in. But because these films have no real anchor, where are we going? You know, where are we going? Where are we going? That's my big thing, which
yeah.
in the Marvels, the post-credit scene, took us to. And that is, when Captain Rambo, you know, fixed the hole in the space-time continuum, which I always like to say. It was like they said they were going to rip a hole in the space-time continuum. I love that phrase. Like that's my hope to one day either be in a movie that fixes it or anyway. So she fixes the tear, but she's in a parallel universe. The 20th Century Fox universe, where the X-Men are alive and well, and she sees her mom's doppelganger. And so, maybe, we're trying to bring the X-Men in. Like, and that was
Trying.
actually, well, now in regards to the Marvel Cinematic Universe, that is the first time we've seen the 20th Century Fox X-Men, right? That's the first time.
Well,
Like, we've
no.
made mention. There was mention of it.
Doctor Strange.
Uh, talking about
Remember? There's
yeah, they were in another
I
universe, but that wasn't
it was the
that was
guy
another
playing him
X-Men.
though.
That was another X-Men. So here's
Uh
here's the crazy thing. And this is okay, geek alert.
okay. I
So
just
when Charles Xavier came out and it was Patrick Stewart again,
Mhm.
From what I understand, that was more along the lines of the of the animated X-Men series because he was in that big yellow levitating thing, right? Not
Mhm.
20th Century Fox, X-Men.
He was
Okay.
just in a boring wheelchair.
Yeah. Right. So that is kind of the distinction between the two. So
Okay,
that
then.
that that's what I'll say. But hopefully, we got to wrap this up. But hopefully, we're able to see how the X-Men come into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We'll probably get a little bit more of it with Deadpool 3, which I'm really excited about. But that's one of the other things. So, and that was the other thing that I really enjoyed was the fact that we've now bridged the gap between X-Men and and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and hopefully we'll get to see what that is all about, and hopefully Captain Rambo will get her code name Photon, and then come back kicking ass and taking names.
Yeah. Um, Jeez, what was I about to say? I really don't remember now. I was like thinking about it, and then like right when you stopped talking. Um, Things I wanted to talk about.
What do
I
you
no no
want?
no 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 no.
No,
Okay,
you got
okay.
it.
I know what
All right.
I was gonna say. Honestly, at this point, I think Marvel just should have stopped making stuff for at least 5 years or like 2 years, or stop making
Okay.
stuff contributing to the cinematic universe after Endgame because after Endgame there was such a hype for Marvel, and they were like, we got to ride this, and for a second they rided it, and like let's be honest, if we go back, like some of the shows that they're coming out with, like shows and movies, weren't the best, and I think just eventually it went down, and we can only see so much mid. And I really think like the only like three Marvel projects that are like worth watching, in my opinion, like after Endgame, is so we got Wakanda Forever, Guardians 3, and Loki. And everything else, like, to be honest, I just don't think was the best. I
Well,
maybe
Spider-Man,
should rewatch. Okay, yeah, sure. No Way Home was,
yeah.
but let's be honest, like it was riding the fan service and nostalgia train like really hard.
Hey man, look.
It's fine. Like I like Tobey Maguire, but to be honest, like Tobey Maguire is my favorite like live action Spider-Man.
After
Um
Tom Holland,
no, I don't really like Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield are like
I
I heard
like.
someone say this too, but they're like pretty boys pretending to be like geeky. And like Tobey Maguire is actually kind of just like Spider-Man, a little like geeky, and he's cool.
Okay.
Like I like him more. Yeah.
All right. Well, that's something else we'll expound on at another time. But hey, this is something we could definitely talk about for a long time, but we are going to wrap it up. So thank you so much for coming in on this episode of Dadshoos. Make sure to like and subscribe and share, get some merch, and then we will see you next time with another episode. All right, guys. Peace.